Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, in the previous lecture we have talked about the group 14 elements, but in that we have also discussed about that we are going to talk about the different kind of properties of group 14 elements. So in this topic basically we are going to cover about different kind of properties like atomic size, ionization enthalpy, oxidation state, electronegativity. These are the periodic trends or these are the different kind of trends that we could observe in group 14 elements. So what are those and how can we deduce that is where it changes and where are the different properties that it could change in the group 14 element. Let us talk about that. So talking about the properties of the group 14 elements, and basically I am talking about that is atomic size. So let me talk about the first one. So talking about atomic size, as we know that it is nothing but the distance between that is the nucleus and the outermost shell or outermost electron. So that's the reason that the distance between this are being represented by a picometer, and that's the reason that atomic size are also known as atomic radius. And basically atomic radius are represented through atomic size, and for that we are going to talk about the group 14 elements. So that is a periodic trend that we have studied in the periodic table, and we have got to know that if we move from top to bottom, that is along a group, then the atomic size goes on increasing. This happens because of the number of shell also increases, and that's the reason that we have also did in our general introduction of that is group 14 elements, where we have got to know that is the carbon has an outer shell of the second shell, while talking about the silicon it has third three shells basically, and basically it goes on increasing. So that's the reason that if the number of shell goes on increasing, obviously the atomic size also goes on increasing. So this happens in group 14 also. And in spite we know that the electrons they get added up on the new shell, and basically the atomic size goes on increasing, but there are also certain kind of factors that could basically make a variation in that is atomic size. For example, we know that d block elements basically, or those elements which consist of d electrons. So d electrons or d orbitals, they have very poor shielding effect. So that's the reason that the nucleus will have more effective nuclear charge on the s orbital or the next orbital after d. So that's why the atomic size will go on decreasing. So here also the atomic size actually it decreases, but not that much. But in regular manner we could say that the atomic size goes on increasing from that is from carbon to lead. So this was the variation in atomic size that I was going to talk about, and now let us move on to the next one. So the next variation or the next property where we could observe variation is electronegativity. So what is electronegativity? Electronegativity is nothing but the tendency of an element or tendency of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron toward itself. So this is what I want to talk about. So in the previous one, that is in the previous property, that is what we have talked about the atomic size, and in that case we have got to know that carbon is the one which is having a smaller size, while talking about the last element of the group 14, that is lead, that has a bigger atomic size. So that's the reason that since carbon has a smaller atomic size, obviously the nuclear charge will also be the more, and that's the reason that carbon has a tendency to attract the shared pair of electrons toward itself or while bond forming. So this is what the carbon is basically very much responsible to give a higher electronegativity, and that's the reason that here we are going to talk about that how we can find variations in the electronegativity. So talking about the carbon, so carbon basically it is the most smallest element in the whole group 14. So in that case basically the electronegativity it has been found to be that is 2.5. So talking about the other elements like silicon, germanium, tin, and ultimately we are going to talk about that is lead. So in this case basically from silicon to germanium and till that is tin, it has been found that the electronegativity is constant. So the constant value that is for electronegativity, it has been found to be that is 1.8, that is from silicon to that is tin. So this kind of electronegativity, it arises because of the inner pair effect also. That is the thing that I want to talk about. So if we talk about the atomic size, so let me talk about the atomic size also, because electronegativity is somehow dependent on the atomic size also. So talking about the carbon, so carbon has an atomic size of that is 77 picometer, and since it is the smallest atom in the whole periodic in the whole group 14 element. So talking about the next one, that is silicon, it has been found to be 118, while talking about the germanium, it has been found to be 122 picometer, while this is 140 picometer. And talking about lead, and lead is basically because of the inner pair effect, it has been found to be 146 picometer. So that is how here basically, if we talk about, that is from silicon to tin, so therefore the atomic size doesn't changes very drastically, but somehow there will be a kind of electronegativity to attract the electron towards itself is basically is constant, and that's the reason that we could get a constant reading over here. But now talking about the last one, that is lead. So lead has an electronegativity of 1.9, which is basically comparatively, we could say it is more than that of tin. This arises due to the inert pair effect. The reason behind that is, as the size of the lead is also more compared to that of the carbon, but meanwhile here this lead shows a drastic variations, means here we could see that there is a rise in the electronegativity, and there how basically this is something where I was talking about the electronegativity about, and there is how we can have shown the variations also. So that's it, and now let us move on to the next one, that is, so talking about the next property, that is ionization enthalpy. So what is ionization enthalpy? As we have known earlier only, that is it is the minimum energy that is required so as to remove the loosely bonded electron, and that is what I want to talk about, that here also we could find the variations in ionization enthalpy. So talking about the carbon, so carbon, since it is having the smaller atomic size, so that is the reason to remove the outermost electron is very much difficult. So that's the reason that for carbon, if we talk about, then the carbon has an ionization enthalpy. First ionization enthalpy, it has been found to be 1086 kilojoule per mole. While talking about silicon, so for silicon, it has been found that the ionization enthalpy is calculated to be 786 kilojoule per mole. While talking about the next one, that is for germanium, it has been found to be 761 kilojoule per mole. So here the main thing is where we are going to talk about is how the variation has been occurred. So if we talk about carbon, so carbon, since it is the first element of the group 14, obviously it will have, like, that is 1086 kilojoule per mole of energy is been required so as to remove the electron, and because of the atomic size is less, also because of that the ionization enthalpy is more, as well as because of the electronegativity. So there are various factors that could determine that why that is 1086 kilojoule of energy is required so as to remove the electron. But if we talk about silicon, silicon is the next element after carbon in the group 14, and obviously the atomic size is also more. So the energy required to remove the outermost electron is also, it would require very less amount of energy, but it is not that much drastic amount of the energy there would be difference in. So this arises, so there is what we could see a difference and in the ionization enthalpy. And now let us move on to the next one, that is for tin, it has been found to be, that is 708 kilojoule per mole. So now talking about, that is lead. So for lead, it has been found to be, that is the ionization enthalpy is basically, it has been found to be, that is 718 kilojoule per mole. So here you could see that there is a decrease in the ionization enthalpy. That means less amount of energy has been required so as to remove the outermost electron. This helps because of the idea that we know that the atomic size goes on increasing, and that's the reason that the energy required to remove the outermost electron, it requires very less. But talking about lead, so lead has basically a higher ionization enthalpy compared to that of the tin. This is because of the presence of the d as well as the f orbitals in the inner shell, and that's the reason there will be rise of, that is, inert pair effect, and that is how basically to lose or to remove that electron from that atom, it's quite difficult, like it requires a certain amount of energy. So that is what I want to talk about, that here we have saw the variations in the ionization enthalpy. And now let us talk about the next one, that is oxidation state. So here also we are going to see some kind of variations in the oxidation state. So let us discuss about that. So we know the electronic configuration of the carbon, and that is basically here I am representing over here. That is, here we could see that it has an electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 2p2. So here, if as the atomic number goes on increasing, obviously that is the atomic size also goes on increasing. But if we observe, that is from germanium, tin, and that is lead, here there is a presence of d orbital. So because of the d orbital, what happens is the inner pair effect arises, and that's the reason that and we have discussed about the inner pair effect also, and that's the reason that the electron that are being present in the s orbital, as you can see over here, that is in s orbital, they don't they don't get unpaired, and because of which they don't get unpaired means they behave like an inert one, and that's the reason that the electrons, they don't participate in bonding. So therefore the overall thing that has been available in that is in losing the electrons is basically 2. So here I want to mention about something. So let me talk about the oxidation state right now. Like if we have saw the electronic configuration, so for that reference we could easily get to know that what kind of variation that we could see in that is group 14 elements, if we are concerned with that of the oxidation state. So for carbon, we know that carbon has an oxidation state of that is +4. If you talk about that is carbon tetrachloride, in that case also we could get that carbon has an oxidation state of +4. So this +4 oxidation state is very much stable when the carbon occupies a +4 oxidation state, but carbon also has a negative oxidation state, but that is not uh, uh, that is not we are going to talk about here, but we are going to talk about that is a positive oxidation state right now. And so this, if we are going through that is from carbon until lead, so therefore we know that after carbon, that is silicon, germanium, tin, and lead comes. So in this case, the stability of +4 oxidation state, which is usually shown by the carbon, it goes on decreasing. So that means Pb will not show Pb4 plus oxidation state, and that's the reason that if you talk about +2 oxidation state, so Pb is very much stable in +2 oxidation state, so therefore we could say that the stability of +2 oxidation state, it increases down the group. So these are some kind of oxidation state that I'm going to talk about, where lead is basically, it is very much stable in +2 oxidation state. While talking about silicon is also the one which is which has an oxidation state of +4, as well as it can be +2 also. So talking about the next one, that is germanium. Even germanium is the one that exhibits a oxidation state of +4 as well as oxidation state of +2. And talking about tin, even tin has an oxidation state of that is +4 and +2, but here we are talking about the comparison between how we see carbon and lead, they have variation in their oxidation state. So now let me talk about the few more examples also. So carbon, since I have mentioned about earlier only, that is carbon is the one that exhibits minus negative oxidation state also. So similarly, if we talk about that is the lower members, or if you talk about the heavier elements, so they don't exhibit that is a negative oxidation state so easily. So let me talk about certain examples where we could determine that how basically those compounds are very stable in nature. So carbon has an valency of 4, that is what we know, and that's the reason that the coordination number of carbon is 4, and it cannot be increased. The reason behind that is, as we have understood the electronic configuration, they don't have d orbitals available, and that's the reason that the coordination number cannot be increased. But talking about those elements like that of that is tin, or we could say like lead, germanium, so they have d block elements, and that's the reason their oxidation state which can be +2 +4, while the coordination number, it can also increase. So let me give you an example over here. That is, if we have an example like suppose PbO2. So in this case basically the lead has an oxidation state of +4, and we know that lead is not stable in its +4 oxidation state, so that's the reason that PbO4 is basically and best, that is oxidizing agent. While talking about the other one, that is SNO, that is tin oxide, is basically a good reducing agent. And so here we are going to talk about the coordination number also. So let me give an example of such kind of complex where we could understand that how the coordination number is also changing. So talking about the example, like if we talk about SiF6 2 minus. So in this case, the oxidation number of that is silicon, it can be calculated, and it could be that is +4 oxidation state. But talking about the coordination number, here the coordination number has been increased to 6. So usually carbon has an coordination number of 4, but here the lower members after that, they can have a coordination number of 4. They can have a coordination number of 6 also. But for carbon, the coordination number will never increase. So this was one of the example that I was talking about, and that's it. So thank you friends for watching this video. I hope you have understood this video very clearly and you have got to know about the variations in the properties of the group 14 elements. So that's it, and I hope you will share this video with the friends, and yes, don't forget to subscribe Ekeeda channel. Thank you so much.